I'm first, woohoo!
I want to rob.
I'm holding out for a hero till the
everyone, welcome in. Happy Monday, happy Labor Day to my friends in the USA. Evil Raphis, thank you for redeeming first. Wanna Rob, welcome in. Twilight. Tisara, thank you so much for the raid. If you're still here, it's good to see you. How was your stream? Hello, Evil Raphis. Hi. Tisara, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Tisara, how is Valheim going if you're still here? If not, I hope you have a good night. Roncosis, hello, good to see you. Slim, thank you for the lurk. Hello. Right, why is this not working? Oh no, I don't want it to be that. There we go. Sorry. That might explain it. Okay, sorry. Needed to get my ankle thingy working. Missed your old schedule? Me too. Are you able to hear me, or you said the volume's down, which in the past that's meant that you can't hear me at all. But yes, how was everyone's weekend? Did anyone do anything exciting? Did I do anything exciting? I did do something exciting this weekend. My friend Molly was in town, and she just called me out of the blue and was like, hey, my mom and my mom's friend and I are going on a boat. Do you wanna come? And I was like, yeah, duh. So we all went out on a boat together and just cruised around San Diego Bay, and then went swimming for a little bit. And so when we went swimming, he dropped the anchor, which was at the front of the boat, which the front of the boat is really high out of the water. And I saw the rope and I was like, I wonder if I can climb that. And so I tried to climb it, and it took me a couple tries, and I did have to use my toes, but I did successfully climb the rope and was able to grab the bow, the top, the front, and pull myself up and say hi to the people who were still on the boat. And I was very proud of myself, and my hands really hurt afterwards, but it was worth it. And then we got Mexican food afterwards, and Mexican food was yummy. Major Dad, hello! You saw 2 movies over the weekend. Anything good? Anything you'd recommend? In theaters, or just like you saw 2 movies? Is OP? Oh yeah, because I managed to climb it. I did have to use my toes. Molly was able to climb it herself, just like using her strength, and I had to use my toes and my upper body strength to climb. But I still was able to do it, and I'm proud of myself for that. Okay, cool. And then I finished up the voice things that I owed someone. And today is my dog's birthday. Not her actual, like her birthday. I rescued her from a roommate who was addicted. Oh. At the movies. Oh, that's cool. So Afraid and the new remake of The Crow. Those are both horror movies, right? What'd you think of them? Thank you for the hydrate. Oh, and then also on Sunday, I helped my grandmother make jam. Which didn't exactly turn out how expected. Apparently, she doesn't let anyone help her make jam, ever. And I'm the first person, like not even her daughters have been allowed to help her make jam. It's like a sacred thing that she just does. And then, out of the blue, she one day asked me, hey, can you help me make jam over the weekend? And I was like, sure. And then my mom was like, you should be really honored, because she doesn't let anyone help her with that. And so apparently one of her neighbors had gifted her a ton of rhubarb. And she was like, I don't really know what to do with this, so I'll just make strawberry rhubarb jam. And so it was 3 batches, because 3 pots. And I helped her with that. And at one point, she was like, okay, we need to move these pots around so that you can, like, help mash down the strawberries in the pot. So we moved it around, and she was like, wait, now I can't remember which jar, or which pot I put the sugar in already. But I'm pretty sure it's this one. I'm, like, 90% sure it was this one. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I had my doubts. Which is why I kind of kept an eye on them. And she was like, okay, how many jars do you want to take home? And I was like, okay, I'll take home a jar from this batch and a jar from this batch. And I chose the one where I was like, I don't think that this one got any sugar, and I think that this one got double sugar. And guess what, guys? When I tried them today, turns out I was right. There was one batch that was extremely bitter. So bitter. And the other one is really sweet. It's delightful. I mean, actually, my mom thinks it's too sweet. My dad and I, who are sugar fiends, think that it's amazing. But, yeah, there's one batch that got a double dose of sugar and another batch that didn't get any sugar at all. It's just straight rhubarb, gelatin, or whatever she uses, like some sort of jello mix, and strawberries. And rhubarb without any sugar is really bitter. Crow isn't horror, and it was meh. Afraid was good? Okay, cool. Well, I thought The Crow was horror. Why? What am I thinking of that's The Crow? Is that the one? That's the one with the guy who has makeup on, right? Yesterday you were at a con, and they say, oh, it was Anime Con. How was that? That sounds like fun. Zircon, hello! It's good to see you. How are you doing? Hello? Oh, Ed Goblin, hello! Did you say hi? Yeah, the crow's the guy with the makeup on his face. Okay, so I haven't seen it, but for whatever reason I thought it was horror. I did, that was one of the first makeup streams, like, face paint streams that I did, was what's his face from The Crow. Just a revenge movie based off a oh, okay, interesting. Well, if it's not horror, then maybe I should watch it. I like horror stories, but I can't watch horror movies. Is it suspense? Because a lot of the times people are like, it's not horror, it's suspense, and then suspense still fucks with me. There's something about the music that just fucks with me in horror movies. It's not a horror, it's a thriller suspense. Okay, still can't. That's horror. You've got, surgery, are you okay? It's not even jump scares. Jump scares themselves aren't that bad. It's the suspense before jump scares that fuck with me. There's something about the music in horror movies and thriller suspense movies that just fucks with me, and I can't do it. I can do it if there's someone out there who's comforting, which is why there's been a couple times throughout my life where I'm like, okay, I'm dating someone who's like, I can, if I get kind of antsy and anxious, I can like hide my face in their shoulder or something. And then I always forget, I only date assholes who think it's funny to scare me more, to be like, oh my god, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen? Or like just sort of mess with me throughout it. And then now I just don't watch horror movies. Oh, I've actually done that, Ed. I've done that. There's the reason that I bought Discord Nitro was so that I could stream movies in my Discord. That would actually be okay. Because the whole thing where in chat we're just sort of tearing the people to the, like that helps break up the suspense for me. So there's a couple horror movies that I actually have really been wanting to watch. And I've thought about trying to do Discord movie nights so that there's people there that I can just watch, like destroy, tear the movie apart. Or like we did The Shining, and honestly, The Shining, I feel like I could watch it now by myself and it would be okay. It wasn't that bad, but like the whole thing of people sharing fun facts in the chat and watching and also making fun of the people, or like, you know, when the blood comes out of the elevator, we were just like, that is a fuck ton of cranberry juice. Holy shit, that is so much cranberry juice. That's gonna take forever to get out of the couches. Like that, I was able to break up the suspense enough that I was okay. I was able to watch it and it was okay. The build-up, yeah, it does make you anxious. Yeah, exactly. It's not even the jump scares themselves, it's the music. If there was no music, I don't think there'd be an issue. Because I've noticed it's the same thing with, there's this horror podcast that I used to really enjoy listening to, but there's music in the horror podcast. It's called the Magnus Archives. Super interesting. With blood, real blood? Alright. It was not real blood. There was way too much. Fun fact, the snow that they used while filming The Shining wasn't actually snow, it was salt. And this is not confirmed one way or another, but I can't imagine that there's been anything alive growing where they filmed that in the last 50 years. The Shining? No, it's the one about the hotel. It's based off a book by, Stephen King. We should watch bad movies and roast them while watching. I wouldn't mind doing that either. But really, what I want to do is I want to watch all the horror movies that I haven't been able to watch. Because I love horror stories. Horror stories are so fucking interesting. I like horror. Whenever there's a horror story that looks really interesting and I really want to watch it, but I know I can't watch it because my hair trigger anxiety and active imagination will make it so I'm miserable for the next 2 weeks. And also during. So, what I'll do is if there's a story that I really want to watch, I will look up the Wikipedia plot summary. And that usually is good enough for me. But there's a couple that I really would just like to watch. Like, Split. Split is the one that I really want to watch. Magnus Archives? Oh, no, it's not I mean, there might be a coffin in it. The Magnus Archives, it's super, super interesting. It's a podcast. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I really want to go back to it at some point. It's about this institution that they investigate reported paranormal instances, and whenever something is decided, so it's the Magnus Institute, and whenever something is either solved or it is said like we don't have enough evidence to prove one way or another whether it's paranormal or not, or Bates! Hello, welcome in! Have you seen the Magnus Archives? That's what I'm talking about right now. It's a horror podcast. So whenever the Magnus Institute decides that something isn't paranormal, or it is paranormal and they've solved it, or something, Kate plays, hello! Yeah, I haven't even bothered trying to watch Annabelle. That would really freak me out, I think. Oh, thank you, Blue Pirate. So, all cases, whether they are proven one way or another, are archived and they go into the Magnus Archives. So, the story starts Thank you for the stretch. So the story starts when the previous head archivist has died, they don't really know, or gone missing or something. And So there's a new head archivist who's taking over, and he comes in and he's like, all right, well, I've come in to the Magnus archives, and the previous head archivist didn't do jack shit. It's not organized by date, alphabet, there's no organization, this is just a raging shit show, and it's now my job to fix it. Like, what the fuck? And so he's like, okay, well, I found this tape recorder, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be just taking these archived cases, and I'm going to be reading out loud the documented, like the initial documentation, and then I'm going to be listing whether, like, any evidence that we've found, like everything that we've done, and if it looks like I'll have my people look into it again if we think so, and then I'll organize it as I go. And so that is the premise, the bare bones premise. The description is head archivist John Simmons of the Magnus Archives starts taking over the task of organizing the archives of this Paranormal Investigation Institute. But as he looks further into the archives, the more he realizes something is looking back. And apparently, I think, this is my theory as far as I got into it. It's not a spoiler because I don't know, it's not been confirmed. The farther, I think that the amount of paranormal whatever, energy, whatever, being contained and stored in this Magnus archives has become its own living entity. A pull for what? And so it becomes its own living entity. And, like, as he's going further into this, he's clearly getting, like, he started out being really weird. Or not really weird, really, like, type A, neurotypical, wants everything to be super, super organized all the time, and, like, he's kind of an asshole, talks shit about a lot of his people who he thinks are not, like, on it or anything. And then as, like, it's clearly messing with his brain. And it's just going further and further and further, and then eventually, I saw a spoiler at one point, but, like, yeah, I haven't finished it. The spoiler was just about that one character. Things just get weirder and weirder. There's, like, yeah, it's really interesting. It's free. It's called the Magnus Archives. I highly recommend it. Anyways, while I was ranting about that, I know I got lost track of, chat. And Empire Strikes Back, the snow during the battle effects and scenes was baking soda. Interesting. Shucks, you'd love to. Well, isn't horror either. Well, it's horror to me, okay? And I think that is technically horror. There's jump scares, there's like kidnapping, intense music, what the fuck. Scariest movie you've seen so far? Scariest movie you've seen so far was the Australian film Lake Mungo. There's a scene that literally made you jump out. Interesting, I haven't even heard of Lake Mungo. But yes, how is everyone doing? How was everyone's weekend? Did anyone do anything interesting? Amazing, came just in time. I'm glad to hear that. Annabelle is a movie about a possessed doll. Omen was too much for you with the babies. I don't even know anything about Omen. Haven't even heard of that one either. Again, I don't watch horror because I can't handle it. Like, I eventually had to stop watching, or stop listening to, the Magnus Archives, because it was getting, like, with the music, they're playing music while they're telling these stories. So I think it's the music that fucks with me. That makes it so, like, my anxiety is just all over the place. Because I'm not even seeing any visuals, there aren't even really jump scares because it's a freaking podcast. It's just him telling a story and reading these, and then it gets a little intense at certain points, but still. Liberated Ostrich, hello, it's good to see you, how are you? How's school going? You finally got to see Longlegs, what did you think? I mean, we're talking about horror, it's perfect. It has to be, there's this cool story about this guy that accepted money from this guy in exchange for a favor, and a few years later a coffin showed up at his place and had something living in it that reacted to water. I think that the Magnus Archives might have one of the stories involving a coffin showing up at his place. That sounds familiar. I think that one of the stories in the archive involves a coffin showing up at his place, where he was told, like, hey, just hang on, you're being paid just to, like, hang on to this, don't open it, whatever the fuck you do. And then, like, it started rattling or something. That sounds vaguely familiar. But, like, the actual Magnus Archives isn't about a coffin. It's got, there's some of the cases like, a lot of the cases are connected. There's this one book that we never got a conclusion on that for as far as I got into it. There's this one antagonist from one of the cases who's, like, made of worms or something, like a hive mind, like, you get infected and then worms take over the inside of your body. This isn't really a spoiler, it's just one of the bad guys. One of the cases that, like, there's multiple cases of this person, but the worm, if you get bit, then the worms go into your body and they take over, and then suddenly you're a corpse suit filled with worms, and then your goal is to try and, I guess, infect other people, but it's sentient enough that it can target someone if she has a grudge. It's she because the first case was a woman, and so they just refer to her as the first case. Sort of, alright, BRB. Carrot King, hello! No killing chickens! I did that twice and I did not end well for me. It's framed as a report. Yes, okay, then yeah. It is a report that he's reading. I don't remember what happened in that specific one. It's been a while since I've listened to Magnus Archives. Again, it's free. I was listening to it on Google Podcast, but then Google Podcast was canceled and they switched everyone to YouTube Podcasts. It's still on YouTube Podcasts, but I don't like YouTube Podcasts. Or whatever. YouTube Music, I think, actually. It has podcasts. Darth Bane, hello! You went to the Royal Ontario Museum. How was that? Never even heard of Annabelle. I'm surprised because it was really big. You know what? I have technically seen Annabelle, sort of. At my senior prom, for the after party, a bunch of people rented a hotel room, and we all went there, and the people who happened to be 21 and up drank. Haha, in high school. They played Annabelle, so I went and hid in one of the rooms. Because I don't watch horror. But I did leave my room at one point, or leave the room at one point, and then I apparently just stood in front of the TV, and they were like, hey, Teddy, are you okay? And I turn around and I'm like, I don't do horror, and then I went and got another drink. I don't remember anything about it. I mean, I remembered that interaction, but I don't remember anything that happened on the screen. I mean, I'm willing to play horror movies in my Discord at some point, if people would like to watch them with me, but it would be like a whole group thing. Blue Pirate, it's a pretty obscure film because it's indie and it's an Australian film, but it's really, really creepy. You and your friends went camping. It was fun. S'mores. I'm assuming this weekend you watch. S'mores, beer, weed under the stars. Nice! That sounds like a great weekend. I hope you had a really good time. You're doing well. School's going pretty well. You liked Long Legs a lot, but it felt really off. It really fell off at the end. But the first half is honestly so incredible. I still have no idea what that's about because they did not show it all during the trailers that I watched. Just sub to them on Spotify? Hell yeah! You're looking forward to. If you listen to it, you need to, either when I join your stream or you join my stream, I really want to hear what you think of it because it's so good. It's so good. Do you know what, dude? I need to get back to listening to the Magnus Archives because even the fact that it, like, the music in it really freaked me out at points, it was so good. Really freaked you out though because it had some devil worship themes and you're a Christian, so that kind of thing really gets to you. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry that it got to you. I'm glad that you liked it, despite that. Shows that it's a good movie if you were still able to say it was really good. Darth Bane, hello. I'm catching up on chat still. Why the sad face? Oh, when you say hi? Oh, you know why. It's because whenever you comment on my shit, you always say you lost the game. So now whenever you comment on my TikToks, I automatically lose the game. Wasn't that your goal? Your brain has been completely desensitized to horror. Your family used to turn the power off on us to try and scare us. See, do you guys know the movie Spirit, the one that's about the horse? I don't even remember why, but there was something about the movie Spirit, something in the movie Spirit that freaked me out so much that when I was a kid, obviously, that I wasn't able, like I had nightmares about the movie Spirit for 2 weeks. 2 weeks as a child. Like I have always, and I'll do this, we've got like this island thing that separates our dining room from our living room, and so whenever we watch anything and the music gets a little bit intense, because every movie has intense moments, I would always end up like walking and just doing laps around the island and kind of peeking my head over the ledge because I was too scared to sit still. I've always been such a baby about horror movies. Oh, that works too. Yeah, you can absolutely do that, Bates. Your brain has been completely, yeah, so if my parents turned off the power, that would be really bad. That would be, like, cruel and unusual. We used to do this thing where if I was gonna have a sleepover at someone's house and we knew they were gonna be playing a specific movie, we would watch it as a family to make sure that I was, like, prepared to watch it with a group of people. And apparently, I don't really remember I remember the sleepover, but I don't remember, apparently the girl who was hosting it was so mad when she found out that I had already watched the movie in preparation, and my mom was like, well, it would have been really bad if you hadn't, because you had nightmares for 2 weeks leading up to the like we had to do that. Maybe you did hear. Depends on the movie. You're really scared of horror movies when you're little and didn't watch any when you were older. 23, so you watched your first ever horror movie and started watching movies after that. That's awesome. Of course you're laughing at that, Darthmean. Remember, do you like Google Podcasts? We switched to an app called Pocket Casts, and it's been really good so far. Yeah, Google Podcasts was canceled. I really liked Google Podcasts. Pocket Cast. Oh, maybe I'll check it out. The thing is, I've gotten used to YouTube Music, and it's got all of my shit saved. Spirit Stallion of Cimarron. That might be it. I just know it's called Spirit. Like the Spirit Horse movie. It's about like the colonials. Oh yeah, okay, you're right. It is called Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron. Yep, that's the one. That's the one that scared me so much that I had nightmares for 2 weeks. And then the girl that I was friends with in kindergarten, I'm pretty sure, got really, really mad at me for watching it in preparation. Yeah, it was effectively scary. You probably wouldn't have watched it, though, if you knew that it was that heavy on the Satan stuff. The first half was more like police procedural mystery thriller vibes, which was really well done. Okay, so is that why you say it fell off? Long Legs with Nick Cage. It just came out this year. Somebody actually uploaded it to YouTube for free, so that's how you saw it. Oh, really? It was uploaded to YouTube for free? Like, legally or no? Used to be terrified of the 1941 Wolfman. This one makes a certain amount of sense based on what I've already told you, but the first Lord of the Rings movie, I remember the specific scene, and I think my imagination made it worse because I was younger and very imaginative. But the specific scene when Frodo meets up with Bilbo in a Riverdale, and Bilbo is like, "Can I touch my old ring one last time?" And he's like, "No," and then Bilbo goes, "Ah!" There's something. I remember specifically watching his eyeballs burst out of his skull, and that didn't happen. It was really freaky. His eyes got really wide, but there was something about that whole thing and like seeing his eyeballs burst out of his skull. I couldn't finish the movie. I was so scared just from that one scene. Used to be terrified, black and white, and the whole thing just freaked you out for years. Makes sense. To watch any horror movie, just don't care for gratuitous gore, so like, Saw. Movie Annabelle kind of got to you for a night or two. So the last horror movie that I remember watching, besides The Shining, which I watched with you guys in my Discord, was Insidious. And I was watching it with the guy I was dating at the time because I thought, oh, if I can watch it with the guy I'm dating, he'll comfort me, and like if I get really freaked out, I can hide my face and he'll like rub my back and it'll be really nice. Not what fucking happened. He intentionally picked one of the... He apparently he thought, like, oh, this isn't actually that scary. So scary. So scary. The music, the whole... Like, the concept, the story is amazing. The whole thing, I don't want to spoil it, but the whole, like, the twist at the end, fucking incredible. Amazing. An amazing story. But, oh my god, I was so freaked out. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't sit still. And he made it so much worse. I guess I did recently watch something where we were gonna try watching a horror movie or a thriller, and then it ended up like the menu. I would not consider that thriller or horror, but it was really good. So like if you consider that a thriller, then I guess I saw that and it was really good. I would recommend the menu if anyone likes those types of movies. But I would not consider it horror. Pocket Cast, okay. Well, that's what you did with Google Podcasts. You should know. Zircon, hello. I already said hi, but still. You've always been a baby about horror too, growing up, and now and strangely love horror movies. I love horror stories. The stories are just good. That's interesting. If you can pull off a good horror story with the twist and everything, amazing. It's just something about the music makes my anxiety go cuckoo. You don't like horror movies as much because the tension, like you said. Heck, even the Five Nights at Freddy's movie almost got you. I haven't seen it. Especially because you watched it in theaters. Yeah, I would imagine. Wait, is that Spirit the movie about racing? It's the Spirit is an animated movie, or Spirit, the Rare Horse of Cimarron, or whatever it was called. It is an animated movie about a wild horse that's just living out in the plains, and then one day, and like he's the leader of his pack of horses, and then one day a bunch of settlers or colonists come along and start capturing wild horses to try and tame them for their factories or armies or something, and he cannot be tamed because he is spirit. He has too much spirit, and they have this whole thing. I'm vaguely I haven't seen this movie since I was in kindergarten, probably, so I'm saying the bits and pieces that I remember. But there's this whole thing where like they cut off his mane to try and break his spirit, and they brand him, and like they leave him without food and water for several days to try and weaken him, and it's almost works, and then he realizes, no, fuck this, and then eventually I think he manages to free all the other horses and take them back to his pack, but then like he's caught by a Native American pack and falls in love with a lady horse there, and they treat their horses a lot more kindly. And yeah, I don't remember the conclusion. I don't remember if he joins his old wild pack, or if he stays with the Native American pack because of the lady horse. The lady horse makes it clear that she is not leaving, because they treat them well. Do I like gory movies? I think gory movies, if it's done in an entertaining way, is funny. Oh, I guess if you consider these like the Babysitter Killer, I thought the Babysitter Killer was really funny. And that is technically horror, but it's so fucking over the top, and the gore is just like, oh, like, you get shot and your entire head explodes in a really unrealistic way, and the gore doesn't even look real. I thought that was funny. So if it's done like that, I think it's funny. I stopped watching The Boys, not because I thought it was scary, or I just thought the gore was too over the top. it was just unnecessary for there to be as much gore as there was. So, like, gore doesn't necessarily gross me out. If it's too much, it's too much, you know? Like, and I haven't seen Saw because I feel like that would just be too much for me. Part of use of... Yeah, that was mostly it, but there was also a plot twist that just didn't work for you, but the main character is probably your new favorite final horror girl, though? What do you mean final horror? Right, what do you mean? Scared you too? I'm glad that I'm not the only one who was scared. Like, clearly my imagination has done something to this scene, because I've rewatched The Lord of the Rings many, many times, and his eyes don't pop out of his head. They just get really wide. But I guess it is kind of a jump scare the way he goes, ah! That scene with Bilbo, oh wow, I think I'm pretty behind on chat. That scene of Bilbo Baggins jump scare, yeah, you're probably, but, I don't know, I like all of them. I don't ever watch The Lord of the Rings as one, so they kind of blur together. Whenever I watch The Lord of the Rings, it's like, okay, it's time for my family's annual or every, like, we haven't done it in a while, actually. But we used to sit down, just as a family, sit down and watch all 3 extended edition Lord of the Rings movies back to back. And it would be an entire day of our family just watching all of the Lord of the Rings movies. So I don't think I've ever just sat and watched one Lord of the Rings movie. You treat them all as one continuous movie. Same! Okay, so Darth Bane, same. They're all 10 out of 10. Yeah, they're all very good. Do I have a big plushie? I mean, I do, but that won't change the fact that I'm wanting to get out of my bed and run away. Meant horror games. Horror games are not as bad. I mean, they are, but I only ever stream. If I'm playing a horror game, I'm streaming it, and then you guys are also there. Like, you guys are doing stuff to make it scarier for me by playing jump scares and stuff, but then the chat is also making fun of me, which helps break up the anxiety. The thrillers are usually more story-mind-based, and horror films or go for jump scares and gore. Okay, then maybe thrillers are what I don't like. Of course, The Menu was really good. I think that's how they spelled Annabelle. But yes, you do really like horror movies. You just love horror stories. Horror stories are just so interesting. They're so much more interesting. I mean, yeah. This might be why I remember, like, the story, maybe I should rewatch Spirit, because I'm pretty sure it was actually pretty cute, but it just had dark themes, like a lot of animated kids movies do. I mean, like, the final girl in horror movies, like Laurie from Halloween or Neve Campbell from Scream, usually the main girl. Have not seen either of those movies, but like, okay, so like the main girl, gotcha. When you do a horror, when you do movie marathons, like one day for all day, you always skip it? Oh, okay, that's an option? Definitely, you saw the opening of The Boys and decided, nope. You know what? Okay, I'll finish reading here. You're not watching that, you're pretty sure someone who was running at super speed jumped and literally exploded. Yep. Okay, you want to know what they said for season 2 of The Boys? They were like, we promise you 30% more gore than the first season, and I was like, I am not even gonna bother. Because it was borderline, like, if they kept it at that level, I would have probably kept watching it because I found it entertaining enough. But when they were like, yeah, we're bragging about 30% more gore, I was like, there's enough gore. It may have been more than 30%. They may have even said 200. That makes more sense, actually. I think they just advertised that they're like, we're promising more gore. A certain percentage of more gore. And I was like, that's too much. You're not watching that. You're pretty sure someone who's running super speed. Yeah. I don't want to... Even the first time? Well, you were not 7 or however fucking old I was. Do something. The dark themes are usually to make it appealing for adults too without making it unfriendly to kids. I agree. When the name is done on the scene where the dude shrinks down, goes into another dude's urethra, and then the shrunken dude sneezes and uncontrollably expands and blows up the guy's penis from the inside out. Isn't that what they wanted, Ant-Man to do to, Thanos? Except for his asshole? One thing... Yeah. Okay, I finally caught up on chat, guys. Are you proud of me? Let me look up the description for the Magnus Archives. Magnus Archives. It's by the Rusty Quill. You can also just listen to it straight from their website. Magnus Archives is a weekly horror fiction anthology podcast examining what lurks in the archives of the Magnus Institute, an organization dedicated to the research of the esoteric and the weird. Join the new head archivist, Jonathan Sims, as he attempts to bring a seemingly neglected collection of supernatural statements up to date, converting them to audio and supplementing them with follow-up work from his small but dedicated team. Individually, they are unsettling. Together, they begin to form a picture that is truly horrifying because as they look into the depths of the archives, something starts to look back. So yeah, that is the Magnus Archives. There is one of the ones that actually did get to me enough. Like, I've always thought that spelunking sounded really cool. But there's this one about this character, the girl who makes the report. She likes spelunking. She likes spelunking is when you go into caves, like directly down, and they're like tunnels that go directly into the earth, and as you get deeper and deeper, eventually you'll get to a point where at night it's dark and a lot of people can't see because our eyes are not meant for low light. But when you go that far into the earth, there is no light, not at all. And for whatever reason, she really liked that. So she would always have a moment where she turned off her lantern and just bask in the feeling of no light. And she would go with her sister. And then one day they experienced something at the bottom of this tunnel, and they didn't bring candles with them, but when she was found, she had like candles or something. Something takes her sister, and apparently she thought that she managed to escape from a different tunnel somehow, miles away, but apparently what actually happened was her husband was like, they've been gone for too long, what's going on? And so they sent a rescue team, and they found her at the bottom of this tunnel, sister nowhere to be found, surrounded by candles, which her hallucination did involve candles, and them like seeing flickering lights of candles, surrounded by candles and that are burnt out, muttering, "Take her, not me, take her, not me, take her, not me, take her, not me." And her sister is gone, never to be found, and now she's afraid of the dark. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. That's such a cool story. I guess I did just spoil that one episode, but again, as I said, it's like you listen to more and more of them, and eventually they start showing a bigger picture. So yeah, you guys should listen to the Magnus Archives. You know, don't even watch my stream today. Just download something where you're able to watch the Magnus Archives, and then watch 1 or 2 or 5 episodes. And if I'm still streaming by the time you've had your fill, come back and tell me what you think of the Magnus Archives. I am joking. I would like you guys to be here. But you don't need to be. If you want to go watch the Magnus Archives, I fully understand. Listen to the Magnus Archives. Oh no, I was sitting weird and my foot fell asleep. Let me kick my desk to try and make that stop. Let me update my lurks. Oh no! It was an action comedy. It is an action comedy, sort of. It's about superheroes, but the superheroes are like bad. But also not all of them are bad, and there's like a whole thing. It's like, you know, in real life, if people were to randomly develop superpowers, yeah, some of them would be good and would have the greater good in mind. But let's be real. Human nature is easily corruptible. Human nature is easily corruptible, which means that a lot of these people who would suddenly have all the power in the world would be corrupted. So, like, they would use their power and fame to make a lot of money and put their own self-interest first, and it's kind of like, it's like that. It is supposed to, like, people think it's funny. I didn't really think it's funny. I didn't like the way they handled certain issues. There's one scene where they were clearly, like, there's this one character who, trigger warning, he tried to essay someone, and then it didn't work, so he was banished, but then he's essayed by someone else. And just the way that they handled it made me really uncomfortable. Like, yeah, he's a bad guy, but no one deserves that. It's just really, like, I didn't like that. That was something I didn't like, and then they were just... In the first episode, someone runs through a person, and they just explode into gore. And, like, yeah, it's gory as fuck. And it makes sense, because that would be gory as fuck. But it just gets worse from there, gore-wise. Who said they wouldn't actually work because Ant-Man would be crushed against the unmovable walls of Thanos' mighty rectum? Did they actually say that? Or are you saying that? Rather be here? Yay! I would rather you be here as well, Twilight. Also, the main girl in long legs. Technically, though, because it is a podcast, meaning that there's no visuals, you could do both. Also, the main girl in long legs, the same main actress it follows, which is pretty good. Her character in long legs is cripplingly socially awkward, which is so funny even when it's not supposed to be. That's awesome! I love when social awkwardness and anxiety is showed in a way that's not like it's a main character, and it doesn't make the person an asshole, and it doesn't, like, it can be funny because being socially awkward can at times be funny, but I feel like so often in media, the socially awkward person is as skewed as just being weird and perverted and bad in some way, and I love when the main character is socially awkward and good, and yeah, so that's awesome. That makes me want to watch it more. But again, I don't think I could handle it. Maybe if it's free on YouTube, that means that I could stream it in my Discord. Have I seen Inside Out 2? No, I have not seen it yet. I want to, though. You heard what somewhere? Yeah, you can whisper the link to me. Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep... These are good lurks. I'll stick with these. Okay, by the way, she's been kind of weird lately, so I'm gonna let her, it seems like she's sleeping, so I'm gonna let her sleep. But it is my dog's birthday today, if you guys want to say in chat happy birthday, and then I'll tell her happy birthday, and she won't know what I'm talking about, just like when I made her a dog cake. She did not know why she was getting a treat, she just knew she was getting a treat. Yeah, and I say birthday because I rescued my dog from an old roommate who got addicted to drugs and then stopped taking care of her, and then I had to kidnap her and start taking her to the vet, and spent $2,000 on vet bills and buying all our food and separating her, and saved her life. I love her very much. So because I adopted her under those circumstances, I don't know when her actual birthday is. I just know how old he told me she was. and I count her birthday as the first day that I fed her, which is incidentally the first day that I moved into that house. So, yeah, today is the anniversary of the first day that I fed my dog and started taking care of her, and she became mine. So yes, I love her very much. And she's sleeping over there. Yeah. Should definitely see it handles anxiety in such an interesting and moving way. Okay. I saw that they added an anxiety character, and that kind of annoyed me because there's already a fear character. And I feel like anxiety, at least for me, like I have fear of things, but for me, my anxiety, it's just like, it's fear that happens all the time or really intensely for things that don't matter. And then also, in moments when I should actually be afraid, my survival instinct just doesn't kick in at all. So like the things I should be afraid of, I'm not afraid of. But then the things that are like, hey, why don't you make a doctor's appointment yourself? I don't really have issues with making phone calls. It's the act of making the appointment that freaks me out. Or answering the door. Like if someone rings the doorbell, I will wait at least 10 to 15 minutes before going to the door because I'm hoping that they've left. Things like that fills me with so much fear. And it's not like I'm afraid there's someone there, I'm just afraid of talking to strangers. Or, you know, things like that. That's like, it fills me with so much fear. But that's how I feel anxiety, is just fear all the time for no reason. For things that I shouldn't be afraid of. Kaduk, hello. Let me know if I pronounced your name wrong. Welcome in, how you doing? You don't like making... So, my mom actually did a really, really good job with making phone calls, and I am a pro at leaving, maybe not phone calls themselves, no, because it transfers over. I'm really good at leaving voice messages, when I make phone calls and it goes to voicemail. And it's because my mom, like, I don't compliment my parents all that much here. I feel like they are good parents, but like, I was their first child and there were some growing pains. But my mom, I think she did a very good job with making sure that I do know how to leave a damn good voicemail, which it's a script. You say it the same time every time. You call, you say hello, you say what your name is, you say why you were calling, you say, yeah, so it's like, let's say I'm calling to make a dentist appointment. Hello, my name is Teddy. I'm calling to make a dentist appointment. This is like, here's my phone number. Once again, my name is Teddy, and here's my phone number again. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. Bye-bye. Just your name, why you're calling, your contact information, repeat your name and your contact information because in case they didn't catch it the first time, have a good day. Same, you don't have problems taking calls. Taking calls is different. I do not like answering the phone. If I do not recognize a phone number, I will not answer. Even if I'm expecting a phone call, I will wait till it goes to voicemail, and then I'll check to see, like, is this the person that I was waiting for a phone call? And then I'll save that number and call them back. So that if it goes to voicemail for them, when they call back, I'll have the number saved. But I can make phone calls easily. You just got off Skyrim VR and you're wondering if you would allow you do your first raid and see what it is about. Yeah, of course. If you would like to raid me, you don't need to ask for my permission. I should be heading over to playing the game soon, so yeah, you are more than welcome. I appreciate it. I feel like in the movie, at least, fear is... You're told to ask first. Sometimes it's good to make sure that the person is going to be streaming still. Because there have been a lot of times where I'll raid someone and then it turns out that they're about to end stream. if someone doesn't want a raid at all, it's possible to turn off raids. But as like I've only been streaming for an hour, and I actually haven't gotten into the game, and we've been talking about horror movies and stuff. But at the beginning, like, yeah, if you see that someone has been live for 4 hours or so and you want to make sure like it's okay, it's good to ask to make sure. Yeah, I don't mean to lecture you while you're live, actually. Whenever you are ready to come over, we can talk about this more if you have questions. But yeah, I appreciate it. You're learning, yeah. Everyone learns. But yeah, most of the time people will only ask, are you still, like, are you going to be continuing to stream? Are you ending soon? It's not necessarily asking for permission to raid. If you were an 18 plus stream, this is just sort of like a general thing. There's been a couple times where people will recommend, like, oh, here's someone that you should raid, and I'll check to make sure that they're an 18 plus streamer, because it's a little weird that I'm an 18 plus stream and like to raid someone who's not 18, or yeah. Just like there's like little things like that, but overall, if you ask, which you don't have to, you would be asking, are you still gonna be continuing to be live for a while? I am not playing in VR. That's also, yeah, I'm not gonna be playing in VR if that matters at all. You're about to sleep now. Okay, Ostrich, it was really good to see you. I hope you sleep well. Good luck with school and everything. I hope your sister is doing well with her baby ostrich. Good luck with your Spanish test. Buenos noches. The anxiety isn't painted. Okay, wait. Welcome in, Raiders! Hello! How are you guys doing today? How was your stream? For the people who don't know who I am, I'm Lady Teddy. I'm doing my whole raid thing, even though, yeah. For the people who don't know who I am, I'm Lady Teddy. I'm a variety streamer who's relatively new to gaming, so whenever I play a video game, it is going to be a first playthrough, as is the case with the game I will be playing whenever I finish I guess, yeah. Right now I'm just sort of catching up with people because it was the weekend, but I will be playing Skyrim later. Probably soon. How was your stream? I really appreciate the raid. Alright, let me... I feel like in the movie at least, fear is more of the basic reaction of being afraid, while anxiety is the more complex fear, like you described, where you're scared of things that haven't happened yet, could happen, and you start obsessing over it. But anxiety isn't painted in a negative light. She's genuinely trying to help Riley through the whole thing and gets more and more anxious the worse things seem for her. Interesting. Yeah. I think that I should watch it, because to me, I guess, because I did briefly study psychology, and I've dealt with my own psychology my entire life. So I've always considered, like, I know that anxiety at its core is a malfunctioning survival instinct. Like, fear has a purpose, and that purpose is to help you survive. Animals that don't feel fear don't survive. And so people who... It's just when you feel fear too much that it becomes a problem. So I think that I should watch it. I think I'm judging too soon. Sweet dreams! Do you have to hit join to follow your own stream? No, you don't. I don't even think you can do. Can do that. Wait. Also, fun fact, you're not able to follow yourself. So if you clicked join, I don't think that, I don't think anything would happen. You are automatically, if you are a affiliate, you are automatically tier 3 subbed to yourself, though you don't get any money for it. National Geographic makes a very good documentary about stress, and it covers anxiety too, and why it's different from humans compared to animals. We want to hide? Yeah, I mean, we are animals to an extent. So, yeah. I mean, like dogs can experience, my dog has crazy anxiety. She's medicated for it. I mean, not all the time, but if there's something that we know is going to stress her out, we do medicate her. Like if we're going to have a party at the house, or if we know that there's going to be fireworks, or if we know that there's going to be a thunderstorm, we do medicate her. Her name is Cleo, and she is a lab mastiff. The other dog in the house, my mom's dog, he, Toby, is also a lab mix of 4 though. She's, like I said, I rescued her, so she's smaller. But yeah, Duke, thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream, and how long have you been streaming for? Because it sounds like you're newer to this. If you don't mind, if you need to raid and run, take care of yourself, de-stream, please make sure you do, because your health is most important. And I don't mean to put you on the spot either. Yeah, I do love her very much. She's a sweet girl. She's so anxious though. And I also have anxiety, so it's a bit much at points. I'm good. What do you mean don't hit join? You keep saying that. Yeah. Don't hit the join. Oh! No, I think that, so if you click when the raid is at the top, because you did successfully raid me. When the raid is at the top, it'll say something of like raid now, or maybe it says join for you. Or maybe you shouted me out and then it like the join was like the follow thing. I don't know. But if you clicked raid now, then it would stop the countdown and automatically make you raid. Very nice. Squishmallow. Like to buy. You don't know if you can because you don't know where you'd put it or how you'd keep it, but you really fell in love with it. Is that like a Squishmallow? Is that a dog? Or... Okay, you know, I've been live for long enough. I think it's time to try and get some gaming in. It's a plushie? Ah! You took me to your live. Okay, so yeah, you still need to end your stream yourself, but all of the people who are watching your stream are most likely here now. And you were new to Twitch? Everyone's got to start somewhere. Honestly, I didn't do any raids at the beginning of when I started streaming. I didn't do any raids because I thought it was kind of daunting to do. But if you want to grow your community, raiding streamers is the best way to do that. It's the best way to meet new people and make friends and learn. So yeah, you're doing well. Alright, I got that open. Let's play. If you'd like to post it in my Discord, you are more than welcome to, Ed. Yeah, welcome to streaming! Good for you on starting. It's really scary to start. I've got a lot of friends who've been telling me, I want to start streaming, but I don't feel like... and then they come up with a list of things to say. Of like they don't have the equipment or they don't know how to start, and I'm like, really all you have to do is just get started and you will learn as you go from there. So good for you. And if you have friends who are streaming, like, you are more than, like, asking questions is how you learn and grow. Oh, you've been at it for a couple months now. Okay. You started with social media years ago. Is, like, that part of your job? Where is Skyrim? Oh, there it is. Been only here for a few months. How are you liking it? You also want to start streaming, but you just don't know how to just start it? Well, I would recommend finding a game that you like, which I know that you have games that you like, and then downloading either... I started with Twitch Studios, which is the most user-friendly, but it's like, it's really not good. I would recommend OBS or Streamlabs OBS. I like OBS because even though it's less user-friendly, there's more you can do with it. And then just watch YouTube videos on how to set it up. I'm saying just, but it's actually not that easy. It takes a lot of learning and experimenting, and honestly, I'm still figuring out as I go. Yeah, Zircon, you're the one who got me to play, what was it? What was it? I can picture it, but I can never remember what it's called. Undertale, yeah, that's the one. You don't like games. That one, and you also recommended, I think it was called Amari, right? I remember just the way you pitched those two games to me with so much passion, and like, just, I could tell just how much you loved the games, and you really made a good case for them. So that's why I remember them. So you would already have games to start if you wanted to play. Just keep in mind that the community for Undertale, for streaming, why is this game not opening? There we go. Is really pushy, and they do a lot of backseating. But since it wouldn't be your first playthrough, it might not bother you as much. You do gaming and anime. Do you watch anime on stream? Oh, you can't post it. Okay, I'll have to give you that permission later. Are you allowed to watch anime on stream? I would be careful with that, because you can, I think that might be a risk for a copyright violation. That's through Crunchyroll, which Crunchyroll does have a subscription. Yeah, I would be really careful with that. But you've been doing it for a couple months, so I'm sure you've done. If you haven't already done your own research, I would make sure to do so. Why is this game not opening? What the heck? It's just automatically... It's saying starting game and then stopping within. What the heck? Is this all games or just Skyrim that I'm having an issue with? Try opening Ori, see what happens. No, I think it's Skyrim that I'm having an issue with. Because Ori did open. Oh, Twitch is partnered with Crunchyroll. I did not know that. Interesting. So you're allowed to stream anime. Huh. Well, thank you for teaching me something new today. I am using Steam. It's a ride. Getting better as years go. I agree, but I also do have to say that Undertale is the only game, like, I've had games where people try to backseat how I'm playing the game, and I've had to say stop doing that, or like time someone out, or like actually snap at someone. And Undertale is the only game that it's happened so consistently, so aggressively, and even when I tell people like you need to, oh, this is still loading. Why is this still loading? Even like you need to stop. It still like does not stop. And I've put it in my title, I've put it in my tags, I've put it in, like, I've had a comment pinned at the top, no backseating. I even, because I just needed something, like I made this sound clip specifically for
Here's the backseating song.
for this,
it
for
isn't very
Undertale.
Long. Don't. Thank you.
Yeah. That being said, it was an amazing game, and I don't regret playing it, but if you were going to start streaming with Undertale, it's not your first playthrough, so I wouldn't imagine that backseating would bother you as much, but you never know. Pumpkin Panic, hello. Yes, right now, so on Mondays I play Skyrim, but I think my Steam might be having an issue. See, the thing is, Ori at least opened, but Skyrim wouldn't even open, but now Ori's not even. I might need to reboot my computer. But so on Mondays I play Skyrim, on Wednesdays I play Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and on Fridays it changes. Sometimes it's one of the other two games that I'm playing during the week. Usually I try to play some sort of multiplayer game with one of my friends, or I'll play Jackbox with all of you guys. Yeah, that happened so much for Markiplier. Specifically, people got upset with him for not doing pacifist playthrough first. But he ended up not finishing it, at least not publicly. Yeah, I can imagine, because people were super pushy. Things are up. I actually updated all of my shit today before I started stream. Like, I update Steam consistently because that's what most of my games are on, but every now and then I'll just go through and update everything. From, like, I have Fortnite downloaded and that's not through Steam, so I'll make sure that that's updated, and I'll update like all of the other things. And I did that today. So I don't really know what's going on. You don't need to be sorry. It's okay. Alright, what's going on, buddy? Alright, guys. The last couple times I've tried to do this, it hasn't worked. It used to be that I would, like, Twitch would not actually end your stream until it had been trying to reconnect for 90 seconds, and I don't think it's 90 seconds anymore. I think it's closer to 30 to 60 seconds, but I'm going to try. I used to be able to fully end my, like, reboot my computer and get back, and my computer would be back online before I have to, before the stream would end, and it hasn't worked the last couple times. So I'm gonna try and do that. And it's probably not going to work. Let me close out all of the other things that I have right now. So at some point I will probably type in chat refresh if you need to, and then, yeah. Close out Illumia. So it might be a Steam issue.
Bitch!
Kajuk, thank you so much for the follow. I'll follow you back. It's a friend of yours if you had a sorry encounter. It would be broken? And the thing with Undertale is playing around with it is part of the game. It is intentionally made for someone to play multiple runs. It is. Cod Duke, if you don't mind my asking, are you playing Skyrim on Steam or some other platform? Thank you again for you rated me. I'm supposed to thank you. But of course, thank you so much. Oh, there's an ad playing. Oh, perfect timing. I will try to be back. Let me get out of this. We're gonna try this again. Okay,